Hey, heathens! We're going back to the Holy Bible. Holy Bible. And we're going to read from this Holy Bible. Now, I've already done this story, kinda, but I'm going to get straight into the story. This is Genesis 3. We've already done 1. We've already done number 2. Number 1 is the one called Creation Story. Number 2 is the one called Major Problems with Adam and Eve. I kind of halfway covered it with God sets us up to fail for Genesis 3. But let's actually read Genesis 3, and let's see if I took anything out of context. Plus add a few things that I may have left out. And it all starts with verse number 1. Not only have we found problems with Genesis 1, Genesis 2, and now we're about to find problems with Genesis 3, I can't even get past the first line of Genesis 3 before I find a problem. What is that problem? Now the serpent was the most subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Thou shalt not eat of every tree in the garden. Alright, number 1, why is there a talking snake? Number 2, it said God made the snake. Didn't say Satan possessed the snake. In fact, you'll find out, we never find out that Satan possessed the snake. Satan's nowhere in this whole story. So where does that come from? Oh, that comes from you adding crap later on. Anyway, so here's this talking snake that God made, that God knew he was going to make, and he knew was going to do this, and so he knew that this was all going to happen, so God let it happen. That goes back to the God sets you up to fail thing. You can go back and cross-reference that one. Alright, and he's talking to this woman about eating the tree of the garden, and the woman tells the snake that, no, we can eat of all these trees, but in line 3, the tree which is in the midst of the garden, that's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they can't eat it or touch it, because otherwise they'll die. Now, remember, in Genesis 2, it says that if you eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, in that day, you'll surely die. So you're going to die that day. Let's see what happens. Serpent says to the woman, You shall surely not die. Or shall not surely die. Let me get my words right. Because otherwise they'll say that. That's the difference. For God doth know in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So, the devil, Satan, a talking freaking snake, says, you're not going to die, but you'll be as gods. God says you'll die that day. Satan says you won't. Satan says you'll be like a god. Well, let's see how that turns out. Alright, when the woman saw it was good and it was pleasant to the eyes, she liked to touch it and all that good stuff, so she ate it. She gave it to her husband and he ate it. And then their eyes were open and they knew that they were naked. So not only does it teach you the knowledge of good and evil, but it teaches the knowledge of they're naked. And it also teaches you the knowledge of how to sew. Because they sewed fig leaves together and they made themselves aprons. They heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the field. Why was God walking in the field? Seriously, why was God walking in the field? He's God. He's everywhere. He wouldn't walk in the field. He'd be already in every part of the field, so he wouldn't walk in the field. He's everywhere, so he's already known that they've eaten from the tree. He's seen all this stuff. That's how he can do the whole Santa Claus bit and know when you're sleeping and when you've been bad or good and that whole bit. So check out these questions to come. Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord amongst the trees of the garden, and the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? I thought you knew. I thought you knew everything. And of course Adam, he knows this, so he has to own up to it, because God's going to say, look, you're standing behind the bush, I know where you are, I'm just making sure you're lying. Maybe. And I heard the voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and hid myself. He wasn't naked, he made himself an apron of fig leaves, remember? Alright, who told you that you were naked? You must have eaten from the damn tree. Who commanded thee thou shalt not eat? In other words, I told you not to eat of the damn tree, but you ate off the damn tree. What's up with that? The man said, the woman made me do it. Because, just like the Jimmy Buffett song, some people say that there's a woman to blame. And they're right. So, he blames the woman. And the woman says, "Nah, it was that old serpent. He beguiled me." Okay. So, serpent, what's your story? Nope, serpent doesn't get to tell a story. He's been shut up real quick. Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all the cattle, above all, every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of your lives. All right, snakes don't eat dust, and they were already crawling on the belly, so what kind of punishment was that? And then he tells the folks there, "I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception." What happened to dying? I thought they were going to die. "In thy sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee." Ladies, does your husband rule over thee? I understand they did back then, but they surely don't now. Maybe God finally forgave women for screwing up Garden of Eden. Alright, but they gotta have children. Okay. Problem. Genesis 2, Adam says, verse number 24, "Therefore shall a man leave his father." Adam didn't have a father, so he must be talking about his son to come that he didn't know about, that hasn't happened because he hasn't sinned yet in order to cause this. He'll leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be of one flesh. So Adam already knew he was going to have children, and they were going to have to get married. I don't know who they were going to get married to, because no one else existed. It was just Adam and Eve. Good question. So, all right, the snake's got to crawl on his belly, which he was already doing, and now Eve has to have babies, which he was already going to have to do. What about old Adam? Adam, because he listened to his wife, and he's eaten from the tree which he commanded him not to do. He cursed the ground for thy sake, and thou shalt not eat of it all the days of thy life. Brings up thorns and thistles, and now you got to go eat the herb of the field, and sweat of thy face shall, in the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread till thou return unto the ground. So in other words, you're going to have to grow your own damn food until you die. Problem. Genesis 2, verse number 5. "For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground." So apparently God needed a man to till the ground. That's why he made them. So he already knew that he was going to have to till the ground. He already knew that the woman's going to have children. He already knew that the snake had to crawl on his belly, and he already knew that he put the damn tree in the garden for them to eat off of. He already knew that they were going to have the knowledge of good and evil, and he already knew that they were going to become gods. What? No. Satan said so. Let's find out if he was right. So he makes coats of skins for them, and he said, and the Lord God said, this is verse number 22, this is a good one, check it out. "And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us." Who's us? We've talked about this before. Who is us? Become as one of us. The serpent said that they would become as gods. So apparently there's more than one God. What does that tell you? So there's more than one God, and now Adam has become one of them, except for one little small thing he has to do, lest he put forth his hand and take also the tree of life and eat and live forever. So in order to keep Adam from becoming a god, they got to get him away from this tree. So what do? They stick a great big old, they send him out of the Garden of Eden first of all, and then they place each of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep away the tree of life. Alright, anybody see any cherubim separating a tree anywhere? Keeping folks away from any trees? Is there a single tree anywhere of this sort? No. Why? Because none of it exists. Alright, so that's Genesis 3. Let's do number 4 now.